It always started the same way for Daniel. He'd scroll through his phone in the early morning, still in bed, and boom, there it was. A friend announcing a promotion. A college classmate showing off their new house. Someone's perfect vacation, their perfect body, their perfect relationship. Within minutes, his heart would sink, and a little voice inside him would whisper, "You're falling behind." He put the phone down, but the feelings stayed. At 33, Daniel wasn't doing badly. He had a stable job in marketing, a one-bedroom apartment in the city, and a few close friends he could always count on. But none of that felt like enough, especially after seeing what everyone else had. No matter what he achieved, it always seemed like someone else had done it better, faster, or with more style. Daniel couldn't stop comparing himself to others. He didn't even notice how much it was affecting him. At first, it was just jealousy. Then came the self-doubt, the shame, the anxiety. Eventually, even his happiness began to feel fake. After all, how could he celebrate his little wins when others were out there winning bigger? He started turning down invitations to gatherings. He avoided conversations about work or relationships. He even started resenting people he cared about. Daniel didn't realize it yet, but his inner voice had been hijacked by something called comparison thinking, a mental trap that quietly steals joy by measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. One night, after another Instagram spiral ended in a silent breakdown, Daniel knew something had to change. He searched, almost out of desperation. Why do I always feel like I'm not good enough? That search led him to a podcast about cognitive behavioral thinking, or CBT. The guest was a psychologist who explained something that made Daniel sit up straight. You don't feel bad because your life is bad. You feel bad because of how you think about your life. That hit hard. It wasn't the promotions or the vacations or the happy couples that were hurting Daniel. It was his interpretation of them. His thoughts were creating a false reality. He wasn't falling behind. He was just trapped in a cycle of comparison that made him believe he was. CBT, the podcast explained, is all about identifying those negative thought patterns and challenging them. It sounded like exactly what Daniel needed. He began therapy the following week. His therapist asked him to keep a thought journal. Every time he felt that sinking feeling after seeing someone else's success, he had to write down what he was thinking and then challenge it. One entry read, "Trigger. My friend got engaged. Thought. Everyone's finding love except me. I must be unlovable. Challenge. Is that really true? You dated someone for 2 years. It didn't work out, but it doesn't mean you're unlovable. People find love at different times." Another. Trigger. My coworker got promoted. Thought. I'm not moving fast enough in my career. Challenge. I've been doing meaningful work and learning every day. I don't even want that particular role. Why am I using it as a measure of my worth? Slowly, Daniel began to see a pattern. His thoughts were filled with automatic judgments, most of which weren't even based on facts. He was creating a story that made him feel small, over and over again. CBT helped him rewrite that story. He also learned about cognitive distortions, common ways our minds trick us. Things like all or nothing thinking. If I'm not the best, I'm a failure. Overgeneralization. One bad day means I'm doomed. Mental filtering. I only notice what I lack, never what I have. These distorted thoughts had been running Daniel's life, but now he was learning to stop them in their tracks. He started practicing gratitude, not just in a general sense, but with intention. Each morning, he wrote down 3 specific things he was grateful for. Not huge achievements, just small moments. A warm cup of coffee, a good laugh with a friend, finishing a project. And something incredible happened. The more he focused on what was working, the less power those comparisons held. He still saw other people succeeding, but it no longer crushed him. he began to understand that someone else's success wasn't a threat to his own. Life wasn't a race. There was no scoreboard. One day, he was walking through the park when a quote he'd once read came back to him. "Comparison is the thief of joy." Theodore Roosevelt. It had sounded cliché before, but now it felt like truth. Daniel still used social media, but more mindfully. He unfollowed accounts that triggered toxic thoughts and followed pages that inspired him, that reminded him of his own values and goals. He also set personal goals that had nothing to do with anyone else's timeline. He took up drawing again, something he loved as a kid, not to post, not to impress, just because it made him feel good. Real research backs up Daniel's journey. A 2014 study in the Journal of Behavioral Therapy and Experimental Psychiatry found that CBT can significantly reduce social comparison anxiety. Another 2019 study, published in Cognitive Therapy and Research, showed that individuals trained to challenge distorted thoughts experienced improved self-esteem and life satisfaction. By changing his thinking, Daniel wasn't just managing his feelings, he was changing his reality. And the best part, he began to like himself. Not because he was the most successful, or the most attractive, or the most anything, but because he was enough. He started showing up for people again, not with fake smiles, but with real presence. He congratulated others without secretly hurting inside. And most importantly, he began celebrating his own journey. One evening, sitting on his balcony as the sun set, Daniel wrote something in his journal. "I used to think everyone else was ahead of me. Now I know. We're all just walking our own paths, and mine is beautiful too." So, if you're stuck in that place Daniel was, scrolling, comparing, shrinking, listen to this. You are not behind. You are not less. You are not broken. You are simply a human being, learning to see your own worth in a world that constantly distracts you from it. And if your thoughts are making you feel small, you don't have to believe them. You can challenge them. You can change them. You can stop comparing yourself, not by pretending others don't matter, but by remembering that you do. So here's your reminder. You don't need to run someone else's race. You don't need to meet anyone else's timeline. You only need to walk your path with courage, with kindness, and with faith that you are already enough. Keep walking, keep growing, and above all, believe in your own light, because it's there.